and welcome to J-Train Podcast. It's J-Train, Jared Freid, coming to you live from the quarantine cabin on the Lower East Side of Manhattan. We are here Mondays and Thursdays with your emails, your stories, your questions. I say it every episode. I'll say it one more time because I truly mean it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for telling a friend. Thank you. That's how it works, people. You found it through someone else. I don't know how you found it, but why don't we repeat that process? Why don't you give the gift of J-Train this holiday season? Let someone know. That's a free gift for you to give to a friend, a coworker, a brother, a sister, a mama, a papa, and it feels so good. If you want to give me a gift, make it your Instagram story. Tag a friend, anybody, tag them, because that's a good way to be like, gotcha. And if you're on YouTube, I want to say hello, YouTube land. Get subscribed to my channel, youtube.com/Jared Freid. We're putting videos there every single episode. I also do the Rose Rehash. The Bachelor is coming, and I'm going to be doing the Rose Rehash for The Bachelor as well. So go to youtube.com/Jared Freid. Also, if you're looking for a gift that you don't even have to send, Patreon, I'm doing 3 extra podcasts a week, $5 a month, patreon.com/Jared Freid. 3 extra podcasts a week, $5 a month. Very excited for today's guest, an OKP here on the podcast. Been here before. Hilarious comic, Adrian Ipolucci. Thank you for coming back.
Thank you for having me, Jared. And that is a steal of a deal. For $5 a month, they get 3 podcasts extra a week.
Per week. And
that's the most insane. That's like the best deal I've heard out of anyone doing podcasts.
Thank you.
I'm not even just saying that. You told me that, and I was like, holy fuck, that's a lot of content for $5.
It's a lot of content. I'd never shut the fuck up. I put out, they're like mini-sodes. Like they're 15, 20. The longest I've ever gone on Patreon per episode is about 30 minutes. But it's something, what I like about it is that they're all like, they're a little different than what we do here, but also just like, I think they're fun and they move a little bit. You know, if you're looking for like a treadmill listen, it's a great treadmill listen, I would say to people.
That's awesome. Yeah, definitely. People should be buying that up like crazy.
I hope they listen to you, but I want to talk about you, Adrian. You're hilarious. I'm so happy you're here. You have a new album.
Thank you. Yes, Baby Skeletons.
So I want to tell people, this isn't a stand-up comedy podcast. This is a podcast where people email in and we give advice, and we're going to get to that very quickly. But I want people to go listen. I think the perfect cousin to the podcast is the stand-up comedy album, because you put it on, you may be on a car trip. Again, I'm mentioning the treadmill again. I don't mean to do that to everyone before the new year, but like it's a good beginning, middle, end. It's like reading a book somewhat, right?
I agree. It's a good way to like listen past the time of something that's awful, like the treadmill, driving, the elliptical. And
you're like, if you close your eyes, and don't close your eyes while you're driving, but like you feel like you're in the room. You feel the experience. You're getting brought back to a moment in time. Where did you take? So, and also, so to anyone listening, it is pre-sale right now. It comes out the 29th of December. So the 29th of December, if you're listening after that date, you can listen to it anywhere you listen to music. Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora. If you are listening before the 29th, it is in pre-sale right now. It's a great stocking stuffer. It's a great gift to yourself, something to take your mind off of things. It's called Baby Skeletons. Adrian Ipolucci, where did you tape it? Why the title? Let's hear it.
I taped it at New York Comedy Club 2 years ago, and I was going to tape...
2 years ago?
Yes, and I was going to tape a special this fall. And because of COVID, that didn't happen. And I have like this, I'm really proud of it. I love all the jokes. I think it's really good because it's like a culmination of my, like, I guess at that point, 13, 14 years of doing stand-up.
Yeah.
And I think it like really came out well. And I was supposed to do a special this year, but that didn't happen with COVID. So I was like, let me put this out there. I'm already writing new stuff. So that's why it came out. And Baby Skeletons is the punchline of one of my jokes.
So, and to let people know, like Adrian, Baby Skeletons, that doesn't surprise me. Someone listening would be like, oh my word, what a baby skeleton. How could you be saying about such horrors, right?
And it's Baby Skeletons. It's like more than one baby skeleton. So it's, even if you have someone in your life that you think will be triggered by it, it's a good way to upset someone too.
It has a dual purpose. You can either give it to your friend who has that dark sense of humor, or give it to your friend with no darkness to them at all, and you'll really rattle their cage a little bit.
Give it to your boss who you hate.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned something very interesting, because I think there was like this big talk when all this started, and you were on the podcast right around the beginning or first couple months of the pandemic, where it's like, okay, go, a lot of these people were like, okay, now that we have some time, go write the next great American novel. Go do your art. And it's like such a bullshit thing to tell people to do, because it's like, for us as stand-ups, like, yeah, we're writing material, but you have to live to be able to write. You got to leave the house. You got to walk. You need momentum. You got to go on stage to see if these jokes work. We're going on stage much less. So it is.
And you need experiences to draw from. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I do think like you can write some stuff about COVID, but even COVID comedy and jokes about it is going to be outdated pretty quickly.
Well, this is the problem I'm having. I'm debating. I think I'm putting out a COVID album, and I have enough material that I've built over the summer till now where it's like, I think it's like 30 minutes, 25, 30 minutes of like stuff that I like, but
that's perfect though. But 30 minutes.
But March, like, we're going to move on. Like, I don't know if it's going to have the same resonance. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be, I don't want to be the guy. And I'm already doing this where I'm kind of rolling my eyes at my breath smells in the mask joke.
But we're still in it. Do you know what I mean? If you put it out now while we're still in it, I think it's very relatable. But I'm saying if we come out of this and we're doing tours in, like September and July, and I think then people are going to want to move on from it. You can do, I think, some jokes about it, but if you do an hour about how you and your significant other like had to deal with each other's farts all pandemic, it's like, okay, like what else? But I think definitely put it out now while people are still in this.
So my plan is, and for those of you listening, if you're Indianapolis, I would love for people in Indianapolis to come. I'm doing New Year's Eve show, and I think I'm going to tape the whole thing. Yeah, that's great. New Year's Eve, Indianapolis. I'll be doing some filming, some taping. You go to my website, jaredfreid.com, but this isn't about me. What I'm saying is, it's great that you could go back. So you were going to tape a special. Were you going to do like the YouTube thing? Did you have a network involved?
So I got to open for Patton Oswalt a couple of times, and he really liked me, and he was going to direct a special for me. And I think he is how I got on The Degenerates, because he really believed in me, which is very nice, even though his stand-up and mine are not exactly the same.
No, but I think that's the people you believe in most. You're like, because you can get out of yourself, you get out of your own narcissism to be like, this person's great for, that you can understand the greatness.
He's also a lover of stand-up. So even if he doesn't, you know what I mean? Even if somebody doesn't have like edgy jokes or whatever, you still love stand-up and you can love all aspects of it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, Brian Regan, amazing. We don't do the same type of stand-up, but I love his stand-up, That was my greatest disappointment about starting stand-up, was that it felt like, I think most good comedians understand that, but it was always like the shittiest people at the open mic that if you did anything different than what they do, they'd be like, oh, it doesn't get, you know what I mean? But that's not a lover of stand-up. Do you know what I mean? You can love all different types of music. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. I like Eric Clapton and Wu-Tang. And they're totally different. So I opened for him a bunch. He was like, I want to direct your special. And then we were going to do something this fall. And then this happened. So I was just like, well, I don't want to hold on to this any longer. I'm already writing new material and have stuff. So I was like, I'm just going to put it out. So,
but that also takes a lot of trust in yourself. A lot of, because you're like, the next joke will come. I have to get over that. I understand that it's hard to do.
And some of those jokes are like your babies, because I've had them from, I've had some of those jokes on that special, on that album for like, I don't know, 5-6 years in. So I love them. Do you know what I mean?
They're the ones you can lean on.
And I'm giving them up. And I'm giving them up now, and I'm not going to do them on a special, but I'm hoping people will discover me through this period and like my stand-up and come out and see me when, the road opens and we go back out.
Listen, I love watching you do stand-up. I love your material.
Thank you.
I love hanging with you. And I think for everyone listening right now, get involved with Adrian. You know, this is, I think you're going to love her album. I want you to right now, comics are putting stuff out there. We're entrepreneurs. Support a small business. Adrian's put out an album. It's in pre-sale. It's called Baby Skeletons. Go, go, go. I'll have a swipe up on my Instagram. Get the pre-sale. And if you're listening after the 29th, it's out there anywhere you listen to music. All we want as stand-ups is for you to enjoy our stuff. So, you know, again, go, go, go. Adrian Ipolucci, at Adrian Ipolucci. Let's do some emails. You ready?
Yeah. Bring it on.
jtrainpodcast@gmail.com. jtrainpodcast@gmail.com. Why can't he just be my only fan? I think we know where this is going.
Yeah.
Jay, your podcast and live streams have been getting me through the quarantine, so thanks for all you do. Getting my question. My boyfriend and I have been seeing each other since mid-summer. Official for probably just over a few months. I just had a moment where I was like, am I taping? I was like, we had some technical difficulties before the show, so now I'm in my head about, are we taping? Okay. My question to you, my boyfriend and I have been seeing each other since midsummer. Official probably just over a few months, and things are going very well. L-bombs have been dropped, and we're getting much closer, but there's one thing that I don't love, and I'm not sure if I should bring it up or if it's something I'll just have to deal with. We were together maybe a month ago, and he went to Google something we were talking about, and his only two frequently visit sites at the top were OnlyFans and Pornhub. No. The website for the Met wasn't there. You know, like the only two. That's great.
Well, she knows at least what he's interested in. You know,
yes.
like he's a very simple man.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about gifts. Just get, you know, maybe a gift card to Pornhub or OnlyFans. Like, do they do gift cards? My girlfriend just said I'd like that. Well, we're all learning today. Well. Like I don't want to interfere with his porn watching because I know it's not about me, but there's something about him, one, paying money, two, for specific girls on OnlyFans that doesn't sit right with me. I may have also looked through who he's following on Insta, and there's a lot of girls in there without big followings who have OnlyFans links in their bio. I don't know if it makes a difference, but he's following over 1,000 accounts. So not sure if it's something he actively seeks out or just an accumulation over the years. Wow. I love this. The way this email is written, she's not wrong. It's so honest and so like baby deer like I guess it just accumulated over the years, you know. But
if you look at what you said before, turn it around. This guy's supporting small businesses, and he's not following like these huge stars. He's following people that don't have a lot of followers. Maybe he's helping them pay their rent or get like a dinner. Like, look at it like that. He's helping the community. He's supporting all these small businesses, and maybe someone's feeding their kid because he's giving them $10 a month.
I think you make a fantastic point because there's a lot of hypocrisy with our porn habits. Yeah, you know, like we're using it. Like if this guy's he's a legitimate fan, which is okay. And if you're watching something on a daily basis and never paying for it, like
that sucks.
At what point, like and again, I'm one of those people that like people watch she mentioned the live stream in the beginning of the email. I do 100 stories. I'm just personally, I'll make it personal. I put up 100 stories every episode of The Bachelor or Bachelorette. The goal is 100 jokes, 100 slides that you would maybe laugh at. The goal of you laughing is for you to like them enough to follow along. So sometimes people will go, like DM me by accident because they mean to DM their friend who sent it to them, or they'll send me like a million DMs with like a million ha-ha-has. And it's like, listen, I did my job. I want the payment of a follow now.
Of course.
know, I get offended when someone watches the whole thing and I go, yeah, you forgot to follow. I try to, what I say to people, I go, forgot to follow. I try to make it like, you know, just like up, you know, I'm trying not to get mad. I'm trying to like look for the best. And every once in a while, someone will write back. They'll go, well, you're not following me. Well, I get nothing out of your account.
Yeah. You're not presenting me with anything on a daily basis that's entertaining.
What am I going to follow you for? Exactly.
To see you at your sister's baby shower to see people I don't know? That's nothing.
And I immediately block those people. I block them because they don't have an understanding of the economy of putting out content.
Right.
Which, just like we're talking about with your album, like you put it up and, the streams per stream on Pandora is very minimal. It adds up. You hope it adds up, but you're looking for a different compensation. You want someone who listens to become your fan. A fan is worth way more than whatever the stream is going to be. So there's intrinsic value. That is an economic term. So let me read the rest of her email because I really don't want to control him, but something just doesn't sit right with me, him paying for private content from specific girls he's also following on a public app. Why does he need to buy online private content when he has a girlfriend who will gladly give him that live and free, she writes with a smiley face emoji. It's different.
Because he wants to see that specific pussy. Like that's I mean, like that's what it comes down to. And if you're not okay with that, that's fine. But that is the reason. Do you know what I mean? It's not even like this guy wants to cheat on you. He just wants to see other people's pussies and assholes.
It's fantasy. It's
yes.
Porn is porn. And here's the thing. Let me read the rest of your email because the problem is that this is new. I think if it wasn't new, it wouldn't be, because we act like, because right now her boyfriend's in the position of this animal, but if this because like he's doing something that is new to all of us. If this stuff existed in the 1800s, they'd be looking at the Queen Mary doing this shit too. A woman dressed with a big powdered wig. It wouldn't be as.
It would be like grandfathered in already, whereas now, like, imagine porn came out right now. Everyone would be nuts if their boyfriend was watching porn, but we're okay with it because it's been around forever. So
sure.
I get her, concern, or she feels uncomfortable about the OnlyFans because you have some interaction with them, I guess.
Yeah, but I can say as a guy, like, listen, for research purposes, I went and, you click an OnlyFans account, and you can't see anything. Like when you go to look at it, it's just all locked up. And you have a moment where you go, should I do this or not? Because again, this is all new. Like I don't do that when I go on, Pornhub. I don't go, am I doing something? Like I'm not looking over my shoulder like, oh, Pornhub, because it's already become normalized. And the same, so when you go to like an OnlyFans, you go, this is a little too close for my comfort. But this guy has gotten over that hump where he goes, listen, this is where I go for fantasy. I'm sure, they say that when you get a prostitute of male or female, you're not paying for the sex, you're paying for them to leave. That's an old saying.
Ooh, that's good.
That's been said a million times. So the idea, I would assume the payment of OnlyFans is a payment for your fantasy. It's not a payment for, hey, and again, I'm not saying this can't happen, but I'm saying I'm generalizing. A lot of guys would say, and a lot of women who use it, they would go, no, this is payment for 5 minutes to get outside of my own, of my imagination, to go to my own dreamland of masturbation.
Yeah, and also if it's not interfering with your life, like if he's not short on rent, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if it's not really affecting your life in a way, I don't know, who really cares? She writes,
I'm sorry to interrupt. She writes, should I say something to him or just, is this just something I need to ignore and let happen? If I say something, how should I go about doing this? He's going to be oblivious. Should I bring it up that I saw it on his phone a few weeks ago when we were together? Should I even bring up the following an IG part? The IG part may make me look a little bit crazy. I think the IG part would make you look the least crazy. I don't want him to feel like I'm judging or trying to control him. I know he's a very sexual guy, and I don't mind he watches porn, but OnlyFans is just not something I know that I'm comfortable with. Any advice is appreciated. Thanks for doing what you do.
I also think in the beginning of a relationship, you're a little more territorial and jealous of stuff.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? Like a couple months in, I would almost revisit this in 6 months and see if you still care that he's doing that.
Well, I agree with you. And also because of COVID, all these relationships are moving very quickly. She says they're saying I love you within a couple months. So the I love you is coming before you see the OnlyFans and YouPorn come up on the screen. Like that, maybe that would have been reversed in different circumstances.
Yeah.
I think you got to wait it out. I think also I think there's to me, like, again, what you said is so important. Is it taking away from your sex life? Is it taking away from your happiness? Or having seen it made you kind of think twice about it? Like, the idea that he's paying someone for the work that they're putting out there, I think you and I both think that this is like, we hope
supporting
more people.
Guy.
Yeah, we hope more people would do
ribbon.
this. Yeah,
He's doing the Lord's work.
Yeah, and you know, it's not like he's leaving $5 on the table of their apartment as he leaves. It is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think you press on this because it's going to happen. I think the one thing you can ask of him is like, hey, like, I think you can be classy while being a sexual deviant in your imagination. So
right.
I don't mean to like make it negative with the word deviant, but like, you can go to imagination land while also being classy of your significant other. What does that mean? Not liking their posts. Maybe not following any more people from now on. Maybe keeping the following, you know, to what 1,000 women is like a lot of women. But that's kind of funny to me. But right? Do you think there's a way to like clean up the Instagram?
I mean, so I think there's a couple things. It's like, do you trust this guy? You know, like, I get where you're like 1,000 women is a lot, but like he also is with you. Like, do you know what I mean? Like those are kind of just like fantasy women.
Yeah.
But I also think if you say something to him where you say it upsets you, one or two things will happen. He might just be like, oh, you know what? I didn't even realize that. I'm sorry. Or he might be like, oh, okay. And then like create a fake account. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know their relationship. I don't know the level of honesty. And I think she has to also ask herself why it's upsetting her. Do you know what I mean? Is she
sure? Is what's wrong in the relationship? Where do you not feel loved and ask for those things?
Yeah, or is there something that maybe you feel is missing? Or is it just like, hey, I want to jerk off sometimes and you're not around? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I think also, like, again, ask yourself, would you rather there be an account that you found out about that he uses for all his women, or would you rather him have this open account where he's like, yeah, I follow a bunch of chicks that I'm attracted to? Like, I think I'd rather the bunch of chicks I'm attracted to and not have any secrets. Like, it's all just there.
I'd rather just know. You know what I mean? And because I think one or two things will happen. He'll be honest and be like, oh, hey, I didn't even realize that, or these are just girls I follow. Or if it's something he feels embarrassed or shameful about, he might like create a fake account. And that's like the worst when there's like a lot of secrets like that.
You don't want that. You don't want to push him into a corner like that. I think give this some time. I think saying
give it some time.
I think saying to him like, hey, you follow a lot of women on Instagram. You know that, right? Like, who are they? Like, and he could be like, yeah, they're just hot chicks that I think are hot. Like, that's like the most, that's the answer I would want the most. Cause at least it's like, yeah, I'm a guy. That's what we do. You know, like, and the OnlyFans thing, I think that I understand where the payment thing, but I think also, I think a lot of women think just because you're paying means that you're trying to get to like date them. And that's not what the OnlyFans payment is going on for.
No, but like feminists would be like, you should be paying me to see like my body or see me fucking someone. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. There's a lot of feminists that are like, that's the right move. You should not be consuming this for free. You know what I mean? You should not be watching a girl take 3 dicks for free. You know?
No. I think even 2 is the limit.
Right. But even like, I think Lisa Traeger had a really funny joke about it where she's like, she pays for porn. And I'm like, that's like a very feminist thing.
Totally. I always think of Lisa when these subjects come up because then she had all these porn stars contacting her, thanking her, like for sticking up for her. It makes sense. It makes a ton of sense.
I mean, it didn't make me pay for porn, but like I was like, I get the sentiment, you know?
I get it too.
Good for you.
The J-Train podcast is brought to you by Noom. Think about everything you've ever learned about getting healthy. There's a lot of contradictory information out there, and things like that old-fashioned food pyramid aren't much help. Enter Noom. It's not about what you just ate, but about how you eat in general. Noom teaches you about eating, your cravings, and how to build new habits so you can ditch your misconceptions and get smart about food and the choices you make. Based in psychology, Noom teaches you how to eat so you can accomplish your personal health goals and stick with them long term. Because you don't need rules to lose weight, you need knowledge. With Noom, you pick the health goals that are right for you, and Noom personalizes a weight loss program to help your aspirations become a reality. I am someone who loves what Noom is doing, because I do believe that all this health stuff, everything that I put in my body is a part of learning and knowledge, and it's more psychological than it is anything else. I can get to the gym. Can I stop eating when I know I'm full, but I'm still at the table? This is stuff Noom is trying to help you with. It's trying to get in your head so you can learn so that you're more ready to make good decisions. Every day, there's a little factoid that Noom is serving to me that makes me a better eater and makes me a little bit healthier. Noom's cognitive behavioral approach means you're not just losing weight, you're building the habits you need to keep it off. Just 10 minutes a day can help you lose the quarantine weight and hit all your 2021 goals. There's a science to getting healthier. It's called Noom. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com/JTrain. That's NOOM.com/JTrain. Learn how to eat again with Noom. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com/JTrain. NOOM.com/JTrain. Ready to learn how to live healthier? Sign up for Noom today. Noom.com/JTrain. Noom.com/JTrain. JTrain Podcast at gmail.com. JTrain Podcast at gmail.com. Here with Adrian Ipolucci. Go, go, go. Follow her. The album in pre-sale right now. It's called Baby Skeletons. And it's an album from, I love that it's from 2 years ago, because I love that we're putting it out there because you're inspiring me. I've been dealing with this decision today, and I think I'm going to go for it. So Baby Skeletons, it is out on the 29th. You can listen to it anywhere you listen to music. Fear of Sex. We'll stay in a sexual area. I love the podcast. I've sent you a couple emails in the past hinting towards my main question, but I've never been brave enough to write it down. I know this may be a little heavy, but I just need to tell someone. You ready?
I'm ready. I'm excited.
I have a fear of sex and don't know how to get over it. I've had a couple bad sexual experiences that have made me distrustful of people. If I'm in a spontaneous hookup situation, I'm okay. However, if I've had enough time to think it through, such as a date, I panic. I know not everyone is a bad person, and I need to try and move past this, but I'm not sure how. I listen to a lot of sex, dating, and self-help podcasts to normalize the conversation in my head, which has actually helped a lot. I have also gone on casual dates to try and get comfortable being around men without adding extra pressure on myself. However, I usually don't move past a first or second date. Do you have any advice on what I should do? I know you're not a psychiatrist, but any advice would be appreciated. You're the first person I've admitted this to, so even if you don't read this on the podcast, I'm grateful to you. Well, I really appreciate the email. I appreciate your trust. Adrian,
That's great that she could be like vulnerable with you and she trusts you. These people, like your fans, like really love you. It's kind of admirable.
Well,
where they trust you and they love you.
Well, I think that I actually have thought about this a lot, and I think you're the perfect guest for this email, because I think comedians are always the best at receiving like information. Yeah. Like, because for comedians, like we think about everything. We let every discussion is meant for discussion with us. You know, if you go, when we sit at the cellar table and you sit at the cellar, if something came up, if someone said I am afraid of sex at the cellar table, it wouldn't be, whoa, what a weirdo. It would be, why? What happened? It would be inquisitive. And I think that's why I love doing this podcast, is because sometimes the questions are very similar, but every podcast has a different comedian guest. And I've noticed just with comics that like our conversations get deeper right away without even knowing each other that well enough to get deep. So I appreciate her trust. And I think over the last 8 years of doing this podcast, like there's no question that I would look at and go, and we make fun of things, but we're never going to make fun of someone for writing their question in, and we're going to dig in.
And you never, like, comics really don't make each other feel shameful. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you came to me and you said, hey, I hooked up with this chick, I have herpes right now, what should I do? I'd be like, okay, do you have insurance? Like, I would never just be like, well, why would you get herpes? You know what I mean? Like, so anyone saying something to you, it's never like you're shaming them. You're like, okay, well, let's see how we can help you.
Sure.
How you feel about this. Like, that is what's cool about comics and podcasts, is that like you can go to crazy places on a podcast because no one's like, that's we can't talk about. I mean, and some people are like that, but for the most part, it's like, for the most part, it's like yes-anding. Like, okay, let's explore this.
Totally. And you know what the difference is? It's the difference between your friend that after you're drunk, the friend the next morning after being drunk that goes, "Oh, you were drunk last night." And then that's the worst friend in the world. The best friend in the world is the one that goes, you were great last night. Here's what happened.
Loved your work.
Loved your work. You did A, B, C. You might want to go talk to D. Here's a Gatorade. Like, I think that's kind of the place that this podcast comes from.
Where you're like, did you fuck so-and-so? Did you fuck so-and-so's husband? This is so cool. Like, we're just not really shaming people, which I think is great. And I think that's why your fans feel so comfortable.
Well, I appreciate it. What do you think of this person's email now that we're here?
So, I don't know exactly her sexual past. I don't know if she's had, sexual assault or anything like that, which is going to make you feel on guard, So I don't know if that exists for her. I do think the first time you have sex with somebody, it's usually never great. Do you know what I mean? It's like you don't know each other's bodies. You don't know much about like their sexual, what they're going to do in bed. I would think, honestly, find somebody that you can actually trust. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I know that's not easy right now because, like, we're in COVID. You don't know who you can trust, and people still want to fuck. And so I know that's hard, but, like, if you could almost meet somebody and talk to them and get to know them first without fucking right away. And it's like, I think you have to have a level of trusting somebody. Like, that's for me been the best sexual relationships is where I trust the other person. And even if the first time sucks, you're like, you still go back and do it again. I think trust is a big part of it, though.
You want someone you can come back to, talk it out, do the post-game press conference with them. I totally agree. Before I even get to what you're saying, because I agree with you 100%, I would encourage this person. There's a couple things in her email that I just kind of want to pluck out. She says, I know you're not a psychiatrist, and she listens to a lot of sex, dating, and self-help podcasts to normalize the conversation in my head. The first thing I'm going to say to her is, you got to go, I think you should seek professional. You got to talk to a professional. You got to, you said you've had a couple of bad experiences. We don't know what those experiences were, but it doesn't matter what the experience doesn't have to be big enough or there's no too big or too small experience that like makes you worthy of professional help. So I think there's like and I hope I said that correctly, but like
everyone can benefit from going to therapy.
Everyone. So I think sometimes people will say, well, my thing isn't enough to go get, no. Your thing all enough. Is enough. So if your fear of seeking professional help, and that's why you're going to podcasts because you're like minimizing what you went through. No. Whatever you went through, however you feel, no one can tell you how to feel. Go talk to a professional. There are people that are trained in the things that you went through, no matter how, again, I hate using big or small in this context, but if you're thinking your thing isn't big enough, it's whatever it is, it's the right size to go get professional help. The other thing I'll say, now that I've gotten away from professional land, this is something everyone can relate to. She writes, if I'm in a spontaneous hookup situation, I'm okay. However, if I've had time to think it through, such as a date, I panic. Everyone's connection with sex is different. When you start comparing your sex, and we all do this. We all do, well, third date, time to have sex. And it's like, who decided on that? That's ridiculous. So, what you're saying, like where you're like, find someone who you trust. I think maybe there's a little bit of like, well, this guy's going to want to have sex soon, or this person's going to want to have sex on this schedule. And it's like the only schedule that matters is your own. So I think.
Yeah, and what you're comfortable with.
Yeah, so when you're saying like, okay, I'll just go into a spontaneous hookup so I can just get it over with, like, you're not even doing things for your own comfortability. And and just know, like, if you wrote in and you said, I'm afraid of sex and I have to wait 1 year to have sex with someone, I would go, that's yours. There's no, Adrian and I don't think neither of us, we would go, okay, well, that's what gets you to sex. Okay.
Yeah, it's like and this is going to sound like cliche, it really is your own path. Do you know what I mean? If you want to wait a year to have sex with somebody or 2 dates, like, that's really up to you.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know why she's uncomfortable. I don't know if she's uncomfortable with her body or not. Like, so I don't know what the reason is. But like sex can be awkward. You know, I mean, that's why people have so much drunk sex, because it lowers your inhibitions. You don't feel as uncomfortable. You know, I'm not advocating for getting drunk and fucking people, but like,
sure.
You know, I think you need to know why you're uncomfortable. And if something happened, like you said, go to therapy. It's going to help a lot.
Yeah, therapy will help. I again, we both want to push that because I think that will help
great.
her an amazing amount. But also what you're saying is like some people get drunk, have sex, and they wake up in the morning, they go, whoo, I feel great. Time to get the day. And some people get drunk, have sex, and go, oh, why did I do that?
Did that last night.
Exactly. So both are correct. Both are to be learned from. There's no right answer. And both are to be learned from. If you get out of it, if you're the person that goes, oh, I can't believe I had spontaneous sex again. I don't want to do. Now, the next time,
don't do it.
That's not your thing. That's not your thing.
You're not
and that's okay.
It.
There's nobody. And if the person that has sex and is like, yeah, great, let's see Monday morning. Yeah, go do it again. Find someone who matches your sexual, connection.
Proclivities.
JTrain Podcast at gmail.com. JTrain Podcast at gmail.com. Here with Adrian Ipolucci at Adrian Ipolucci. Baby Skeletons. That is the album. I want you to go download it. Get it. Pre-order right now. Comes out the 29th. Anywhere you listen to music. Baby Skeletons, Adrian Ipolucci. Girl Code. Our exes off limits forever.
Let's hear this.
I was best friends with this girl in high school 7 years ago. We drifted when we all went to college, no longer kept in touch. During that time, she dated this kid from her hometown for less than a year. They broke up, and now she lives with her new boyfriend for the past couple of years. Now, I recently moved back to our hometown, and she reached out. We met up for drinks and caught up trying to rekindle our old friendship. Well, her old boyfriend also reached out to me after seeing I had moved to the area. And after talking for a while, he asked me out. I did decide to go. It went great. We had an awesome time. The night ended with a kiss, and we made plans to hang out again. I really like him. I can't help but wonder, am I breaking some girl code since he previously dated my friend? We weren't friends when they dated. I know nothing about the relationship they had or why they broke up. I know her, and I know she will be mad if she finds out. I'm torn. Do I be a good friend to an old friend or try it out with this kid I'm super interested in? Our ex-boyfriends off limits forever. Adrian, what do you think?
Oh, okay. Ex-boyfriends, it depends. Each situation's different. Do you know what I mean? If me and my best friend, I dated this guy for 4 years, we break up, and then she wants to date him, that's inappropriate. You're my best friend. It's shitty. It's inappropriate. So girl code is different, and each situation is different. I feel like you and this girl lost contact and weren't even great friends to begin with. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're such great friends with somebody, you don't lose contact with them. So the fact that you guys did lose contact and only reconnected is basically situational because you moved back. I think what she should do is be honest with this girl and say, hey, I know you and so-and-so dated. We weren't friends at that point. Now that I moved back, he asked me out on a date and I went. And I want to be honest with you and tell you. And if she gets up and says, listen, if you're upset, I totally understand that, but I'm going to still date him. And then you leave it up to her. She also, you can't own everybody. And she's in a new relationship. Like, it's so crazy to that's stuff you did when you're 16.
Yeah. I'm with you 100%. I think the hole in their friendship is a big part of this whole thing.
They weren't that great of friends. Like, look, if it was your best friend and she breaks up with a guy and you're like, hey, can I date him? I'm like, sure, if you don't want to have that friendship. But this is not that great of a friend. She's living with somebody else. And the fact that she would even get upset about it means she's holding on to feelings about this guy, which is weird.
It's not about you. I'm with you.
And you live in a small town. How many available people are there to date?
Yeah, I'm with you all the way. I think there's an old saying, it's the cover up, not the crime.
Yes, be honest about it.
Be honest. People don't get in trouble for the crime. They get in trouble for the cover up that comes after the crime. That's how it always works. So if you can get in front of this thing that might be considered a crime, there will be no cover up. So you're going to get in whatever trouble you get with her. It's going to be her problem. So I'm with you. You send a text. You go, hey,
Send a text, maybe call her if you're. I don't know what level of friendship they've reconnected back on. And also, like, if she doesn't want to be friends with you, who cares? You weren't friends with her for 5 years when you moved away.
You'll be fine without her.
That was like prepping you for this. Who gives a shit?
Exactly. And I'm sure this person that wrote in is a little nervous because they've just moved back to the town. She's not technically on home turf because she's been away for so long. But I would say to her, you send a text. I would send a text. I go, hey, I know this is going to be incredibly uncomfortable. I would get in front of it. This is uncomfortable. Yeah. Just let her know. I feel uncomfortable with this. So-and-so reached out to me, and we got to talking, and I think we're going to go on a date. I wanted to let you know that's about to happen. And
well, now she's already dated. She has to say, hey, we already went out on a date, and I like him. And I don't think she should lie. I think she should just be honest and be like, hey, this is uncomfortable, and I didn't tell you right away because I didn't know how I'd feel about it. You know, because like she should say, we went out. I do like him, and I do want to continue seeing him, but I wanted to let you know and give you the courtesy. And then if she's upset, then it's like, this chick ain't a good friend to you anyway. You can't own everyone in your neighborhood and like everyone's off limits.
Give you the courtesy. I wouldn't want something like this to sneak up on you. Because I wouldn't want that. So just letting you know. And again, what you said, leave it open to like, no, I'm seeing this guy. I'm going to see him. But I'm being nice enough to let you know so that you don't have it pop up on your Instagram feed one day. And it's
also, a year relationship or less than a year is not that long. If this was a engagement and you guys had been connected the whole time, I'd say that might be a little fucked up. But this is not that great of a friend. And if you've already lived without this person, you can live without her again. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. The J-Train podcast is brought to you by Rothy's. This season, give the gift of comfortable, washable, and sustainable shoes and bags from Rothy's. Rothy's shoes are incredibly comfortable with zero break-in period thanks to their seamlessly knit-to-shape design. It's no surprise that Rothy's best-selling shoe, the Point in Black, has over 3,000 near-perfect reviews. Spread some holiday cheer with the newest Rothy's styles like winter-ready shoes, brand-new bags, and washable masks. And with a Rothy's gift card, you can let your loved ones pick the perfect present. I gotta say, I got these shoes for my mom like 2 years ago, and she still talks about them. You don't have to break them in. They're great for the in-between stuff. You're not going out in them to, your fancy New Year's Eve party, but you're not going to just wear them around the house. There's something you'd wear to the store, something you'd wear to get your nails done. You'd wear to, go pick up something from the grocery store, something you'd wear, hey, we're going to go get drinks at the bar after work. That's that type of stuff. It's the in-between shoe, and I think the fact that they're comfortable and they look great and you can wear them with anything is a huge plus for my mom, and I'm sure they're going to be a huge plus for you. Rothy's comes in an ever-changing array of colors, prints, and patterns. Rothy's are available in a range of styles. Rothy's shoes are seamlessly knit with thread made from plastic water bottles, so they're ultra comfortable as soon as you slip them on. That's right, there's zero break-in period. Find out why Glamour named Rothy's one of the top gift ideas you can't go wrong with, and why Allure says Rothy's is the eco-conscious gift you'll see on every list. Rothy's signature thread is actually spun from plastic water bottles so that they turn into shoes, bags, and even face masks. Another major bonus, Rothy's are fully machine washable. Every time they need a refresh, you can simply toss them in the washing machine. That's huge. Check out all the amazing shoes and bags right now at rothys.com/JTrain. Go to rothys.com. That's rothys.com/JTrain. Style and sustainability. These are the shoes you've been waiting for. Head to rothys.com/JTrain today and slip into something you'll feel good about. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com, JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Let's do one more email. Is that cool, Adrian?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do it. This is great. Your
podcast is the most fun.
Thank you.
You're great at what you do. You're great at what you do. Your fans are awesome. I love your podcast. I mean that.
Way too kind.
No. You're great at it.
I appreciate that. That means a lot. I really do love doing it. Okay, so I sent you an email before.
Yes, I read it.
Let's pop that up. I'll read the email and then we'll go to the screenshots. Ready?
Yeah.
Big fan from the UK sliding in to squeeze the sponge that is your brain. Ah, jolly ho! Hoping to soak up some droplets of your infinite wisdoms. Here's the deal. I'm at culinary school with this guy who is so hot. One of those situations when your body is just so drawn to someone Whew. She writes, like my vajayjay tenses up when he walks in the room, kind of hot. Does that happen?
I know exactly what she's talking about. Yeah. It's kind of like almost you getting a boner for someone that you see where you're like, woo, I want to fuck that person.
The dick, if the dick worked that way, we would have a lot more issues as men.
I guess it works like that as like teenagers, maybe.
I think there's more made out of it than actually. Like there is the moment you do get the out of nowhere boner, and you'll be in class and you gotta like put it in in your belt pant, the waist of your pants to try and not like and everyone's like, okay, we're leaving class. You're like, okay, no, I'll be there in a minute. Like, there's a little bit of that. But
will your dick just like move a little if you see a hot chick? I don't know how it works.
It's not like a magnet, but.
That's what I'm thinking it is.
No,
it's just drawn to people and it's like, woo!
Just starts looking around, me and my dick, just like,
who can
did you see her, buddy? Okay,
but
so...
I know what she's talking about. Your pussy will tingle a little.
Okay, so a little pussy tingle. Anyway, following orders for my underpants, I made the first move. He seemed keen, then never followed up. What's weird is he just never replied after saying yes. We see each other almost daily at school, and he's never brought it up or made it weird. I am completely myself around him, and we chat like normal. What's the deal? I know the texts are from a while back, but it's still an ever-present question in my mind, and maybe I did something wrong that I can learn from next time. Please untangle this dude's brainwaves for me. I literally just want to shag this guy's brain out and work off some sexual steam with zero strings attached. I don't want a boyfriend or relationship of any kind, so what gives? Thought it was a dude's dream. We are both 26, if that is of any relevance. So let's read the emails. I think it's very interesting what she said in the end. So, okay, you be her, I'll be him.
Oh, I can't read them.
You can't?
I'm on my phone. That's why. So I'm not using a computer.
Oh. Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'll be her. Here's her. Ready? Hey, was going to chat you today, but never saw you without everyone around. I know this might seem forward, but I'm a big believer in speaking my mind. So here it goes. I think you're hot and would love to hang out sometime. I'm not looking for anything serious, but think we could have some fun, if you get what I'm saying. And then she put the eyeball emojis. No big deal at all if not. Just thought I'd shoot my shot because for some reason I really want to fuck you. Oh my God, she really came.
But that is the most amazing upfront.
It's
I love
spectacular.
This girl.
I love it.
To be that connected and fucking just say it is amazing.
Well, that's the thing. She has an understanding of her relationship with sex. She is asking for what she wants, and nothing more, nothing less is what you have to keep to, because she writes, no big deal at all if not, just thought I'd shoot my shot because for some reason I really want to fuck you. Ha ha. I'm actually laughing at this message because I've genuinely never said anything like this to anyone. But hey, fuck it. I'm in a particularly bold move. If you're not interested, I honestly am not bothered and don't want you to feel weird because I asked. But I just knew if I didn't, then I'd regret it. Girls got to eat and all that. So I love the text. He responds so
great.
Forward. But you know what?
Also not like gave him an out. Do you know what I mean? Where you're like, hey, if you're not into it, that's cool too. When you give someone an out, it's great.
Here's the food, but I can remove it and put it in the fridge. Or I can remove it and throw it away if you don't want it. That's
I'll give it to someone else. There's homeless people.
So he wrote back, hey, big respect on the message. Honestly, basically, I have just come out of a relationship and kind of got in my head that I'm going to take a break from anything that could get serious or get in the way of the course. At least the duration of the course. Oh, so the course that they're taking together.
Yeah, the culinary course.
As I'm sure you'll agree, this course is very important to me, and I'm sure for yourself. I really don't want anything to get sticky or confusing, as we will be seeing each other a lot for the next 8 months or so. Having said that, I agree and would be down to hang out for sure. Shall we pencil something in for next week or the following? Okay. So she writes...
So that is confusing.
That's very confusing. I'll say this. Here's what he's doing. Let me read the rest of hers. That message reads in a pretty confusing way. Not really sure what you're saying. I feel like mine was pretty black and white. Yeah, I think so too.
It was.
But to clarify, I'm definitely not looking for anything even resembling serious. You're the course I'm totally focused. Yeah, I read that wrong. She wrote, the course, I'm totally focused. I've obviously got both cuisine and pastry to focus on. Now they're in culinary town. Also doing another program on the side, so stuff's pretty full on for me, and don't plan on letting it slip at all. I love being single at the moment because I can act on whatever I want, e.g. my previous message. And I'm completely focused on myself and my goals. Just thought I'd put out a feeler and let you know that I find you attractive and reckon we'd have some fun. Either way, it's chilled. Yeah, that message could have gone one of two ways, but I'm pretty straight up chick and tend to speak my mind. It doesn't always go well, but I think it's a good way to be. So glad on the big respect response. So then he responds, to be fair, on a second glance, it was a bit confusing, and I apologize. I was a bit taken back, if I'm honest. It was a really straight up text, and I wouldn't have the balls to send a text like that. So honestly, big respect, and I got a lot of time for that. Okay, dude, enough. He's like raising her jersey to the rafters, like she's like Hall of Famer. Well, I'm glad we see eye to eye, and me to I am also enjoying being single, but I hear you and I'm feeling it. So let's definitely get a drink at some point next week. So then he writes, sorry, texting is a nightmare on my phone and it keeps trying to call you. Fair. It was quite a lot. Sorry if it came across strange. Just don't really know how else to put it. Sure. So if you're still up for it, let me know what time works next week. I've got plans Wednesday, Thursday, so can't do it then. I have to sort some shit. So now they go back to making plans, and
they do that for a bunch of texts like, hey, I'm out tonight. Can you hang out? No, I can't. And then I think he also says, hey, I'm somewhere, right? And she can't do it. Right?
Yeah. Does he? Unfortunately, I had plans. He did. I'm actually going out to dinner this eve. Another time. No, he didn't.
Okay, then he doesn't want to fuck her.
Well, he's got someone else.
Or he doesn't want. I don't know this guy, but sometimes people after a breakup do really want to be by themselves because they kind of hate everyone, and they're like, I need to decompress. And then there's some people that are like, I need to fuck that other person out of my brain. I don't know. I think also being in school and seeing her all the time, if it doesn't work out, it's going to be weird. I don't know. This is going to be all you.
Well, I'll say this. Do you ever have a grandparent that grew up in the Depression?
Yeah.
They finish the food on their plate. They don't, they're frugal with their money. They're very aware of what they hadn't had before. Men are like that with sex. Okay. Men don't just say no and leave the option, get it out of my face. They remember a time where they were, had no sex and no woman wanted them, and they were in high school and they were the loser because men, are there with their penis. Like the penis is like, come on, go get that, go get that, go get that. And we always.
Right. I remember we were standing in line for bread.
Yes. And now someone's giving us bread. So there's a distrust of it. Two, there's I don't want to just throw it away. He, even in his text.
You think he distrusts her even though you think he thinks she wants more than sex?
He doesn't know. I think he knows that she initially wants sex. I think a lot of guys don't trust that a woman could stay the course of just sex over the course of this culinary school that they're in together. Because he even wrote that in his message. As confusing as he was, it wasn't confusing to me. He goes, I want you. Sex, of course. I want sex with you. So he's not going to turn away the food that's being offered to him. But he's also saying, I don't want to get in the way of this class because I'm sure, because guys see the ending before they'll see kind
that
of
makes sense. Where
the goodness of it.
He sees it going off the rails, and now I have to see when it's uncomfortable.
Yes, and he again, I trust her because of her email, because of her messages. I think it's hard for men to get out of their own way sometimes, to think that there's some woman out there that is giving them exactly what they're looking for, because it's like, what's the and it's an ego thing. It has nothing to do with her. It's not because she's not great or wonderful or good for somebody, but it's his ego's in the way, and it's his narcissism of thinking, well, my mom said I look good in a suit, so every woman's going to want to lock me down. And it's like, that's not the case. This girl was like, I think you're hot. I want to fuck you. And he's sitting there going, Also, he might have another woman in his past. He might have the ex that's still around, and he's going,
who knows? Yeah.
I just gotta keep that option alive. So right now he's keeping the ball in the air. He's playing a game he's rallying a volleyball, and he's just trying to keep it in the air as long as possible until he can have the option.
I think this is what I would do if I was her. Knowing this, I would wait till the end of the course and be like, hey, do you want to fuck? And if he did the whole let's grab drinks and he didn't follow up on it, I would just, it's dead.
I think that's a very nice thing you're doing for him, but I would actually say to her, she is so direct and so honest that I don't believe that the sexual experience will be good if someone can't be as direct and honest as you.
That might be a good point, too. I didn't think of
if
that.
She's the way she is, she's like, I know my connection to sex. He doesn't know his connection to sex. He doesn't know how to be honest with sex. He only knows how to be the guy that's like stringing girls along and things are going to go bad. Like a real stud would be like, come on, let's have a drink. We'll pop upstairs. Let's fuck. He's not a real stud. He's a guy. It's just not in his nature. I think she has to move on. I think she got to go, hey, it's, go spend a night in the tub with the removable, hand thing and think about him for a while.
Also, she sounds hot, right? Like, doesn't she sound like she's kind of hot? And she also sounds like she's wasting her life being a pastry chef. She should be like out in the fucking courtroom, like just fucking controlling shit. Do you know what I mean? She's like a woman that's no nonsense and should be a fucking judge sitting on the Supreme Court doing shit. So maybe reconsider the pastry business. But yeah, you're probably right. She knows what she wants. This guy is wishy-washy. He's probably going to fucking suck in bed. Go get someone else.
Get someone else. I don't think this is the guy. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Adrian Ipolucci, thank you so much. This is fantastic.
Thanks for having me.
Always a blast. I want everyone to go follow Adrian at Adrian Ipolucci. The album's called Baby Skeletons. It's on pre-sale now. Get involved. Adrian's one of the funniest comics out there right now, so you're going to love the album. Much. I'm Jared Freid. We're here every Monday and Thursday. We'll be back next week. Boom. Don't forget to like the video you just watched. I have many more. Subscribe to the channel right now. Like and subscribe, like and subscribe, like and subscribe, you fool. There's even a bell you can click to. Now you've got your week set Monday through Friday. I'm here for you.